You are all welcome to this conference, international conference. So I just want to confirm that all presenters are here. I can see Brother Rachid. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Also, who is presenting? May I know who are those presenting? Sherrindra. Okay, Salma ABDELLATEF.
Yes, I'm present. I'm here.
Okay, thank you so much. Tawfik, AZRAK.
Assalamualaikum. I will be presenting Shasha for the third session.
Shasha, okay, for the third person. Ibrahim Ari. Okay, okay, I can see. Okay, because Sherrindra is not around. Okay, we will start from second presenter, third presenter. If the first presenter can.
Excuse me, Dr. ZEKERİYA. Sherrindra changed to Salsabila Putri Maharani. He is here now.
Okay. I think let us start. Each presenter, I'll be giving you 15 minutes to present. Okay. So then later on, if we have time, then we can open for question and answer. My name is Habibullah ZEKERİYA, Deputy Dean, IIUM Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance. Our session is fourth session. The theme for our is the response of Islamic financial services to the COVID-19 pandemic. I would like to thank all organizing committee for the wonderful job done. So without further delay, let us start this session with Surah Al-Fatiha. Please, can we to get the barakah? Okay, as we just confirmed, the presenters are here. So the first presenter will be presenting a paper entitled Economy Recovery for MSMEs in Post-Pandemic Era, Potential Role of Waqf. فليتفضل مشكورا Brother Sherrindra. The floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. The Honorable Dr. Habibullah as the chairman of the session and the Honorable two committee. It is an honor for us to be participated in this conference. My name is Salsabila. I'm here with my colleagues from Universitas Erlangga, Indonesia, and IZU Turkey to present our paper entitled Economic Recovery for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises in Post-Pandemic Era, the Potential Role of Waqf. So the introduction, based on a survey conducted by the ILO of the 1,000 MSMEs companies surveyed from 8 countries on 4 continents, 70% had to close their operation. Half have temporarily closed their business following direct instruction from the authorities, while another 50% have been temporarily closed due to reduced orders, cases of COVID-19 staph infection, or worse, permanently. The number of unemployment people worldwide increased by 33 million, reaching to 220 million. Therefore, based on this problem, instruments are needed. The challenge faced so as not aggravate the conditions. That's why Waqf alternative solution to address this challenge. Studies show that Waqf practice help MSMEs a lot. For example, in Indonesia, the MSME Waqf practice is carried out by a Waqf institution called ACT, with Global Waqf ACT continuing to expand community empowerment programs through the use of Waqf funds to support MSMEs. The study aims to explore the role of Waqf in the preparedness, resilience, and recovery of the post-pandemic era, which is integrated with the 8 SDGs. So our literature review first is Waqf and COVID-19 pandemic. Waqf institutions have long been the main instrument for the decentralized provision of public goods around the world. Several studies and research state that Waqf has a very significant impact on the contribution of social, economic, political, and environment problems in several countries. Umar believes that with Waqf, poverty and socio-economic problems due to the COVID-19 pandemic can be minimized if Muslim philanthropists are more passive in their wealth through the Waqf model. In relation, and now the second literature review is the role of Waqf in SDGs. In relation to the concept of SDGs, in several Muslim majority countries, they have begun to develop a new framework for Waqf-based development aims, which can be drawn in line with Maqâsıd Sharîah. And then Khan emphasized that Waqf-based development can automatically bring a point of correlation between Waqf and SDGs. The framework for implementing the SDGs offers the possibility for stakeholders to prove the relationship between Waqf for the community through the Waqf approach as a fulfillment of modern development needs. And then for the first discussion, MSMEs during pandemic. A recent Goldman Sachs survey of 10,000 small business owners found that 99% have already been impacted by the coronavirus, and 51% report their business cannot survive 3 months of an economic shutdown. Exacerbating the problem, 97% report difficulty accessing emergency funding, and 53% acknowledge that their employees do not have the ability to telecommute. The statistics are alarming and suggest the economic fallout from COVID-19 will get worse for small business and their employees before it gets better. The potential Waqf for tackling the problem is Cash Waqf is a new innovation in the Islamic financial system in the voluntary sector in addition to Zakah, Infaq, and Sodaqah. This instrument not only breaks the ice on the meaning of Waqf institution in various Muslim countries, but also represents a tremendous opportunity for the socio-economic development of the Ummah as a whole. As Waqf differs from Zakat in terms of beneficiaries, if the recipient of Zakat is only for Asnan, then Waqf is not limited to its beneficiaries or Maquf alai. As well as the nature of Waqf, which must be productive, then one form of utilizing cash Waqf is to provide opportunities for expanding access, financing for the micro, small, and medium enterprises sector. In the role of Waqf for MSMEs, first, this cash Waqf can be used as a means to empower MSMEs by providing Qardul Hasan loans, so that small business do not need to apply for a loan to the bank as business capital, especially for businesses that are just starting. In its implementation, it is necessary for Nazir to provide business and managerial assistance, as well as monitoring to make sure they are sustained for long term, and in the long term, it can support SDG number 8, decent work and economic growth. Introduce some aspects related to promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employee and decent work for all. So our conclusion is COVID-19 delays the achievement of SDGs. For instance, SDGs 8 namely promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work, especially for MSMEs. By using cash Waqf can empower MSMEs, support their sustain for long-term, and SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. Introduce some aspects related to promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employee and decent work for all. So our recommendation for government better consider using cash Waqf to support MSMEs in their country, support their sustain for long-term and SDG 8. And for future research, this paper has limitation only conceptual framework. Future researchers can conduct research on the implementation and the using of Waqf for other SDGs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sister, for this very wonderful presentation. I think it's worth to be shared. Very good and very interesting discussion. I will suggest for the further improvement in the topic. You didn't state the country. I think it's better because in your discussion you rely on Indonesian, right? Salma, is Salma presenting? You rely more on Indonesia. That's supposed to be reflected. If that can be reflected in your topic, the topic will be very interesting because you already share with your readers that you are focusing on that aspect. So, but the discussion is good. And further investigation can be done as well by using quantitative research method to see to what extent and also to what extent the cash Waqf can enhance this segment. I think maybe if you can take it, it will be very good. Okay, the second presenter is I think Salma. Sorry, Salma, right? Did COVID-19 affect consumer behavior? Evidence from Turkey for online shopping and hoarding. Salma, you are there, so the floor is yours.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Sister Salma.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
I'll be sharing my screen now.
Okay, okay.
Okay, can you see my slides? Yes. Oh.
Yes, we can see your slide. Thank you.
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Salma ABDELLATEF. I'm a master's student in the Social Sciences University of Ankara. Today, inshallah, my presentation will be, as you have mentioned, thankfully, did COVID-19 affect consumer behavior? And that would include a sample collected from both Egypt and Turkey for online shopping and hoarding. The outline of the study starts with the literature.
Can you go for full screen?
Oh, full screen. Okay.
Yeah, better so that they can see.
Okay, is it proper now?
Yes.
Okay, so it starts with the literature review. Then we are going to, we're going to see the hypothesis of the study, the methodology, and then we are going to discuss the data results and introducing the conclusion and some recommendations. So first of all, as known, COVID-19 is considered a global pandemic, and the transmission of its infection is very high, and that was followed actually in many countries by strict lockdowns, specifically in USA and the United Kingdom, Germany, India, and so many other countries, and that caused actually drastic changes in the structure of people's daily routines, and shopping is nothing different. It has been suggested as well by too many researchers that lockdowns may need to be implemented for about a year after the spread of the pandemic to manage the burden on health services. So the main aim of this study is to discover whether COVID-19 drove more consumers to shop online, and whether they are hoarding more goods because they have a fear of the pandemic, or to discuss what is called the panic buying phenomenon. The importance of this study appears in giving enlightenments about how consumers behave during pandemics, and this is nothing new. It did happen before. And as well, to be able to give enlightenments to the policymakers to be able to design policies that suits the situation, specifically in economics. The hypothesis of our study is that consumers in Egypt and Turkey would definitely show a tendency to shop more online and to hoard since March 2020, and which is the start of the lockdown measures in both of countries. The methodology used in this paper is by conducting a descriptive statistical analysis by analyzing the answers of 117 participants from both of the countries, 90 observations from Turkey and 87 from Egypt. And we wanted to explore how they make their purchasing decisions after COVID, specifically, whether they trust shopping online, and that would give us our research a hint about their motives and then their tendency to hoard. Starting for the online shopping literature review, there is a rich literature review. Specifically, this study was conducted in January 2021. So it's considered now, of course, there will be more. However, at that time, in 2004, before, it was reported that online grocery, for example, experienced an ascension in Singapore during the SARS virus outbreak. The same in 2024, New Zealand, which has experienced a drastic increase in the demand for online shopping, specifically groceries as well. And that was after applying the complete lockdown. The same was in Taiwan. The investigation in one of the papers did reveal a shift in the regular shopping to an online food shopping, specifically, where the intensive media coverage of the COVID-19 was people or shoppers were very responsive to the news. And this is one of the actually the hypothesis as well in our study. As for hoarding, or what is identified in behavioral economics as panic buying, it involves people to hoard goods out of fear or worry. So we wanted to test that in Egypt and Turkey. So in the United States, it has been actually proved very much, whether it's for food, drugs, and drinks. And we have as well, it has been famous in the newspapers about the mass hoarding of toilet papers. The same for as well in China. There was rational and irrational food hoarding, which did appear after the COVID-19 pandemic spreading. Our data is divided into two samples. The first one in Turkey has 90 observations. In the one for Egypt has 87 observations. And the survey had 3 sections. It was an online survey because of the social distancing considerations. It started with the demographic information, questions about online shopping, and as well was followed by questions about hoarding, and all of it was multiple choice questions. It was restricted only to residents of both of the countries, whether Turkey or Egypt, and all of the observations were 18 years old or older. As we see in the demographic data of the participants, most of the participants in both Turkey and in Turkey specifically was from females. The average age was 26, and it was 50-50 around percentage between Turkish nationals and foreigners. Most of these, about 75% of participants in Turkey, are highly educated with at least 4-year degree. Their occupation mainly were students, and their monthly income was ranging between 1,000 liras and 2,000, the majority. As for the sample collected from Egypt, it was as well 50-50, but around between males and females. The average age was 41, and most of all of the participants were Egyptian nationals, except for one observation. And it's as well a highly educated sample for about 80%, with at least a four-year degree, university degree, I mean. And the monthly income as well is ranging generally between 2,000 and 4,000 Egyptian pounds. So mainly taking into consideration the currency changing, it's the same. It's considered the same between the two countries. In our second section, we had the data about shopping online. We asked participants whether they, how many times they shop on monthly basis, and we wanted to know how frequent they are shopping, because that is going to be reflected in their need into going to the store itself, which will be reflected as well in the shopping online percentage. As well, we have asked the participants whether they are how they were shopping in 2 weeks before the spread of the virus. Most of the participants in both countries reflected shopping from physical stores. However, they as well have been asked about whether they tried shopping online before. And most of them, the majority in Egypt and in Turkey as well, experienced an online shopping before. And as well, we have asked them whether they trust shopping online. Most of the participants in Turkey as well said yes, but not the same can be said for Egypt. Did you change? We asked, did you change your shopping style after COVID-19? And most of the, as well, the participants in both countries have asked yes, but relatively in Turkey it was more. So as we can see, this is to highlight the most important percentages. When we asked participants whether you are willing to shop online before COVID-19, about 65% said we are somehow willing, and about 15% did say yes, we are willing. For Egypt, it was near 56 are somehow willing, and 12% are willing to shop online. We asked this question because we wanted to know if this question or this mind or how they think the shoppers is going to change, was going to be followed actually by an actual behavior change. However, when we asked them then about their shopping preferences, most of them actually have said that we are shopping more from online shops after the pandemic, and in both countries, but of course in Turkey is more than Egypt, or somehow willing. We asked them as well if you trust, so because this is going to play a very important role in interpreting the results. So most of the participants somehow or yes, they are trusting online shopping in Turkey, and same can be said for Egypt. In the third and the last section, we asked them if they are, we wanted to test whether they have hoarding tendencies or not. We asked them if you buy more news due to, you buy more goods due to news. Most of the participants say no. However, about 40% in both countries, or between 35 and 40, said yes, or somehow we are hoarding because of the news. And of course, when we generalize these findings into the population, this is a very significant percentage. We asked them whether they feel that food will be scarce in the future. About 50% in both countries actually showed worries about that, and that's why they were hoarding. We asked them as well whether they are buying in large amounts of food because they are worried. Most of the participants say no, but as well about 15 to 20 in both countries said yes, or somehow we are. We asked them, do you continue to collect food if you still, even if it's causing problems for you? Or they said about 20% only were somehow or yes, they were doing so. And we asked them about whether they collect food in fear or worry. Most of the participants actually said it was like 50-50 status between yes, somehow, and no. So this is as well to highlight the findings, the most important ones. We have, as we see in Turkey, news has a very big effect on extensive shopping, whether in Egypt and Turkey as well. Buying more out of fear or worry as well is significant in both countries. And this study has some limitations. First of all, about the trust, trusting the online shopping, because in Egypt and Turkey, of course, it would be different. The e-commerce infrastructure in both countries is different. It is more advanced in in Turkey, and so this will be as well reflected in the answers of the participants in Egypt. As well, the product price and the quality will be limiting the answers of the participants, so it has to be taken into consideration. Additionally, the lockdown measures between two countries is different. Somehow in Egypt, the lockdown measures were less, so of course this is going to be affecting the results. And finally, the cultural differences between both countries has to be taken into consideration. For example, in Egypt, it's very known that the people are more comfortable with taking their shopping or pursuing their shopping behavior more in person. As well, being too restrictive to wearing the mask or using the sanitizing or whatever is very new things if we do have to do it on daily basis, whether in all of the countries. And this cultural differences as well has to be taken into consideration. So in conclusion, we can say that participants in Turkey showed higher willingness and actual behavior change in their counterparts in Egypt. Participants from both countries showed a limited or medium-sized tendency to hoard. But as well, I will be assuming again that if these results have been applied into the population level, it's going to be very significant and it will be turned into millions. Age, gender, and income are very good indicators to study shopping online behavior. And one of the findings as well with like females, of course, would be shopping more online. As for Egypt as well, age and income only were used to refer to distinguish the patterns in shopping. As well, despite the prior willingness to shop online in both countries when they asked, it was very high, exceeding 70%. Very relatively little presumed their intention with an actual behavior in Egypt, and little percentage in Turkey. Finally, education and nationality cannot be identified as a factor that affect participants' behavior towards online shopping or hoarding, and this can be applied only to this sample. My final recommendation would be firstly, not only the engaged categories in the behavior can be targeted by online marketers. For example, the old or the disabled has to be taken into consideration. Enhancing online shopping platforms is very important component to suit the needs and the possible technological abilities of all societal slots, whether it's the old, the medium-aged, or the young. The introduction of focal shopping as well is a very important alternative for those who are not familiar with the internet usages, especially for the older slots. And finally, identifying the crucial role that media can play, especially with the expansion of social media platforms, is extremely significant. Policymakers has to take into consideration all of the possible implications that can be for the spread of the virus or like happened in COVID-19, and so that there will not be any shortages in the supply and so on. That was my presentation, and thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sister Salma. A very wonderful presentation. and the topic is very significant. My comment is, mashallah, you did very well. However, I think the justification is supposed to be made why you need to compare between two countries, whereby the background and custom perhaps somehow different. I think it's good to justify from the beginning. I didn't read your full paper, but I'm just out of courtesy, okay? The second thing is some of methodology. You are using, it seems that you are using quantitative, right?
It's the quantitative, yes.
Yeah, quantitative.
Stata program was used in all of the analysis.
Okay, in that sense, Sister Salma, you need to clarify whether 177 participants are enough for two countries. Then you need to do your sample size and see whether do you use t-test for the correlation?
No, actually, it was not very extensive. It was just the descriptive analysis.
Yeah, maybe you can use t-test to compare between both. We will make your analysis, your discussion very strong. Thank you. I think maybe it's preliminary research. I think further discussion can be made, inshallah. Thank you so much. We really enjoy your presentation. Okay, I will go for the third presenters. But Tawfik, I think no Shasha is going to present on behalf, right?
Yes, I'm here, Doctor.
On the topic, positive social impact on Islamic social finance during COVID pandemic, case study of Malaysia. The floor is yours. Shasha, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Right? Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. Can you see the slides?
Not yet. I think.
Okay. Wait a minute. I'm trying to share the slides. What about now, Doctor? Can you see?
Not yet. No problem. I think you can present because of time. You can start presenting if you want. It's okay. Inshallah, I will follow. I will follow you. We don't want to waste much. Okay. Yes. Bagus.
You can see now?
Yes, I can see now. Okay.
Yes, we can see.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. Today I'll be presenting about the positive social impact of Islamic social finance during COVID-19, case study of Malaysia. This is the outline of my presentation. I will present about the current COVID-19 situation in Malaysia, followed by the concept of Islamic social finance. Then I will continue with the objective of this paper and the approach that we use, which is value-based intermediation strategy. After that, I will continue with the 3 selected banks, methodology, findings, and also the conclusion of this study. Ever since the COVID-19 started, we have seen an increase in the number of active cases and also deaths all around the world. And according to the table, you can see that as of 7 October 2021, the Ministry of Health Malaysia has reported more than 2.3 million COVID cases, and these have had a huge impact on the economy, political, health, social, and also educational system of the country. However, along the way, there have been various initiatives that are being implemented in stages, which is introduced by many parties. For example, a new social regulation, namely Movement Control Order or MCO, is being implemented by the government of Malaysia. government of Malaysia. They also initiated an economic stimulus package. However, not all of the people can benefit from the package because it was only focused on low to medium income citizens. So there is the need for other organizations such as Islamic financial institution to also join the initiative. Following this, tools can actually help to improve the financial aspect of the people. Why? This is because by construction, Islamic finance nature should be social based because as we know in the early practice in Islam, zakat and waqf are not new in history. So if Islamic social finance is practiced by Islamic banks, their financial activities aim will not be solely for the monetary point of view, but also they will include the society when the financing is here, Azman and Ali give a definition of the Islamic social finance. They defined it as a sector comprising traditional Islamic institutions based on philanthropy, such as zakat, sadaqah, and waqf, institutions based on mutual cooperation, such as qard and kafala, and also the contemporary Islamic microfinance institution. The scope of such as socially responsible investment and also the volunteer activities such as corporate social responsibilities, which are stakeholder oriented. There are two main objectives of this study. Firstly, this study wants to explore the practice of Islamic social finance in the three selected Islamic banks in Malaysia, which are Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, BIMB, CIMB Islamic Bank Berhad, and also Agrobank. Secondly, we want to assess which bank out of these three banks is more efficient in delivering their positive social impact during the COVID-19 pandemic. We specifically choose Malaysia because it is reported Malaysia is among the most developed Islamic finance system in the world by COMSAC and also with the biggest Islamic finance market in Southeast Asia. So with this background, we believe that it can help us to identify to what extent the Islamic banks are practicing the Islamic social finance. This is the approach that we use in this study, which is Value-Based Intermediation Strategy, VBI. It is introduced in 2017 by Bank Negara Malaysia or Central Bank of Malaysia, together with several Islamic banks, which are also known as the Community of Practitioners. So, in short, VBI strategy is actually a move to attempt the Islamic finance industry to move forward to achieve a sustainable growth, which also involve the socio-economic impact. Central Bank of Malaysia stresses that this strategy will give benefit to a wider stakeholders such as the financial industry, the government and regulators, as well as the community and customers. Community will benefit from this strategy in terms of improved standard of living as well as fair and transparent treatment. There are actually 4 underpinning trusts or driving forces that is proposed under VBI, which are entrepreneurial mindset, community empowerment, good self-governance, and also best conduct. This table here shows the possible indicators that is that is used to measure the proposed trust under VBI. However, since this study is only focusing to measure the social impact, we will only use the community empowerment trust, the possible indicators of the community empowerment trust. The first and second indicator, which are number of innovative products and services introduced for the community, as well as the number of community-based projects driven by the Islamic financial institution, will be used to achieve the objective. However, due to the limitation in acquiring data, the indicators, the third and fourth indicators is excluded. Alright, we selected these 3 banks because all of them are actually practicing Islamic social finance, and at the same time they are part of the community of practitioners that implement the VBI strategy. The first one, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, or is also known as BIMB, is the first full-fledged Islamic bank in Malaysia that is established in 1983. And after being 38 years in service, they have more than 405,000 workforce with 6 million customers all over the country. And currently, BIMB is actually aiming to balance the individual needs, social needs, and economic activities that promote justice and responsibility through their Islamic social finance practice. The second bank is the CIMB Islamic Bank Berhad. It is launched in 2003 and is also part of the CIMB group. CIMB Group as a whole has more than 19,000 workforce and 5.3 million customers in Malaysia, and they operate globally, especially within the Southeast Asia region. And CIMB Islamic actually have a new initiative on their own, which is called Islamic First Strategy. In this strategy, they want to add sustainability to all aspects of their operations, and they want to emphasize value creation, which is the goal of Islamic social finance. The third bank is AZRAK. It is established in 1969 and become the full Islamic bank in 2015. It is one of the development financial institution that is established by Malaysian government to promote a certain key sector of the economy. In this case, it is the agriculture industry. And until now, it has 192 customer points. And then in 2019, AZRAK was acknowledged as the leader in agriculture financing and value-based banking in Malaysia. And this also signals that it is already on the path of Islamic social finance. The study is conducted based on analytical and quantitative approach while considering the COVID-19 pandemic situation. Secondary data analysis is used from electronically available resources such as the published reports from the bank, and other relevant documents such as academic journal and newspapers. After that, explorative and also comparative method using VBI strategy measurement has been adopted to achieve both of the objective. And then information gathered from each of the institution is compared using the two possible indicators of the community empowerment as mentioned before. Moving on to the finding of the study, this table shows the new innovative products and services that is introduced for the community. These three banks that is especially catered for COVID-19. If we can see here that BIMB has come up with 5 new financing products, especially for the purpose of continuation or the startup of small medium enterprises (SME). All of the products under BIMB, which are SME Penjana Tourism Financing, SME Special Relief Facility, Targeted Relief and Recovery Facility, iTekat Microfinance, and Bangkit Microfinance, are structured to facilitate working capital or capital expenditure. But the first 3 products is initiated under the government economic stimulus package, but the last 2 products is funded by the public through the bank's crowdfunding platform. On the other hands, and targeted. I'm sorry, they have come up with two new products also to facilitate working capital, but the third product is Kim Chakna. This is to I'm sorry,
I think
there is a
it's
problem
okay.
with my connection.
Yeah, I think problem with your connection. No problem. We take note.
Okay. I'll try to share the slide once again.
Go for conclusion because of time.
All right.
Conclusion.
Okay. In general, this study found that BIMB is the most delivering the positive impact to the society through its practices, and followed by AZRAK and CIMB Islamic. Although CIMB being the most effective institution, I think that all 3 continuous effort in helping. In conclusion, it is focused Islamic financial institutions should focus on fair circulation of wealth, and the regulators should focus on structuring a just and considerate economy that is beyond money making, and that can be achieved by the practice of Islamic social finance. And to sum up, Islamic social finance can address the hardship that is faced by the society, and they can actually deliver the intended outcomes of Shariah in line with the VBI strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sister Shasha, for this wonderful presentation. I think it's worth to be shared. Just only about maybe for international audience, perhaps it's good in the background of your study, you take note of VBI, Value-Based Intermediate in Malaysia as a strategy. And of course, it's from Bank Negara, but to what extent other banks are actually capturing it and inculcating it in their products. Of course, Bank Islam, very good in that aspect. Agro also very good. And perhaps you can also justify why you include CIMB Islamic, because it's not full-fledged Islamic bank, right?
Yes.
So the comparison is supposed to be there, and you justify, which inshallah will make your presentation very good. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The third presenter is our fourth presenter, Ibrahim Ari, on the topic. Okay, if I can see it. Okay, no problem. I don't. Okay, Fadal. Brother Ibrahim, you are there? Dr. Ibrahim?
Okay. I want to just inform you, we have to take care about the time. Because now
no problem, sir. Inshallah, no problem. Don't worry. Dr. Ibrahim, please, the floor is yours.
Could you please give me the control? I don't have any control now.
You can click the present share.
So I don't have.
Okay, no problem. You can present because of time. You can just present, no problem.
Dr. Ibrahim, if you wanted to take it, you want to share your screen or whatever, look at the red button up, the sleeve. You can find arrows. Click the arrow, please.
Yes.
Then you can share your screen.
I don't have share presentation or.
Can you see, please, doctor? Can you see the red button up on the right side?
No, I don't see. Okay.
The red one, leave. This red one, we call it leave. Can you see that? Leave. Look upright.
Yeah, upright.
Okay, see your camera. Can you see the camera?
Okay, just wait.
After camera, there is mic.
Yes.
Okay, beside the mic, there is one arrow going up. Share.
Okay. I think.
Okay, Dr. Ibrahim, for the time, for the sake of time, you can present, please. Go ahead.
Okay, can we follow up the other presenter, and then I will present later on, and I will solve this issue. If it's possible, I don't hear.
It will take time, so I think I don't mind because of time. We are asked to finish at the time allocated for us.
Okay, anyhow, okay, I will start with. Okay, my presentation is Regenerative Public-Civic Partnership. I will call it RPCP later on my presentation, which is, okay, just wait a second. A durable business model based on Islamic principles and FinTech for easy and hard times of economy. First of all, I want to start with the global economy. From 2007 to 2021, debt has been increased from to around 270 to 360. And in 2020, the global economy is shrunk about 3.5%. So all these problems make the global economy is a very delicate situation. And in this regard, Thomas Piketty has an inequality in his book, which is the capital. If the rate of return, capital return is greater than the rate of economic growth, which is the case now, the social problems, fights, unrest, or even wars will start to correct the history. This happened just before the First and Second World War. So, this much of debt, which is 360, around debt to GDP ratio is 360%, brings a excessive wealth inequality. In this regard, Wilford King, which is a famous writer and researcher in 1915s in US, in his book he says, whoever controls the property of a nation becomes a virtual ruler of this country. So we should look the wealth inequalities of the countries to see who is the real ruler and virtual ruler. So in this regard, if we look for the Nordic countries like Finland, Norway, Sweden, they have very low income inequality. However, if you look their wealth inequality, it is excessively large amounts, like they are on the top of the list of wealth inequality. So it implies that there are some virtual rulers on behind of their economy. Even they provide, let's say, equitable income. But at the end, it turned out to be excessive wealth distribution. This needs an attention. So we stated our problem as a triangle. First, there's a huge financial gap for development, and not only for the development, for SMEs or ventures or any small and medium enterprises as well. There is a financial gap. So this financial gap leads to excessive global debt concentration, and this excessive debt concentration, which I showed you before, unfortunately I couldn't show, but I just told you, global excessive debt concentration will cause social and economic crisis. We call this triangle as a triangle of unsustainability. So how to finance sustainably? What should be the feature of the sustainable financing? It should be regenerative, like a snowball. It may start with a small amount of capital, and then by time it will roll and then becomes large and grow much more. So, and it should be local and domestic, preferably, and the capital should accumulate among all the stakeholders, not a few. I will just mention, but not give details about the capital centralization and concentration, which is a fundamental of the Marxist economy against the capitalist system. So it should be equity-based because we are trying to reduce the global debt concentration, and this is the one issue, and the other issue is we are Muslim, so the interest riba is haram, so it's prohibited. So we need to reduce the debt-based financing and increase the equity-based financing. So we will present here an equity-based financing, and it should be productive financing, like it should be commodity in return of the capital. So here is the question: can we realize the sustainable development by financing sustainable projects with unsustainable financing? So we are doing a greenery projects, like renewable energy projects, or any social or environmental sustainable projects, but with unsustainable financing. It will be sustainable or not? So here is the research objective is to develop policy guidelines in the financing system for a substantial decrease in wealth inequality without decreasing the total wealth. So we are developing a system which is decrease the wealth inequality, but it also should not decrease the total wealth. And it should reduce debt burden on society, and including public participation and inclusiveness through the private investments. So in this study, we will utilize the Waqf system as in the many presentations here in conference or in any conference related to Islamic economics.
Okay, Ibrahim, you have
Yes.
5 minutes more. I'm sorry to interrupt you. 5 minutes more.
Okay, I will come up first. Okay, thank you. So Waqf act as a solution to many social problems, like and Waqf-based institutions aim to protect the society and environment with philanthropic funds from donation and thus lower substantial public expenditure. And in this regard, Awqaf reduced the budget deficit and curbed the sovereign debt by downsizing the public sector. This is not mentioned in the literature much, but this is the really subtle fact. And subsequently, a decrease in demand for debt-based funding diminishes interest rates, facilitating investments and growth. However, the literature on Islamic economics has paid limited attention to the role of Waqf on diminishing or even eliminating interest from financing system. And but the Waqf has a downside from a financial perspective: the lack of capital pooling, which is an important financial feature. Awqaf operate in the voluntary sector and do not accumulate donations, but large social capital and environmental projects demand a significant amount of money that can be obtained by capital accumulation, so pooling. Therefore, in this study, we will enable a capital pooling in a system, not Waqf only, as a system, and restructure a new institution based on the Waqf to provide capital accumulation with retaining the Awqaf's benevolence feature. And we will use acute crowdfunding, and then I will go fast, and then we develop a consumption model. There is a bank, and then our proposed financial system, financial intermediary as a system. It has 3 components. Mainly, the Waqf has 3 main components: SPV, which is borrowed from the project finance, and the Waqf pool. And this Waqf pool operates as, you can say, a cash Waqf, and then equity-based financial intermediary. All 3 is a part of the Waqf. So, as for
conclusion.
Yes. Okay. In agent, so in our agent-based model, we just quantify all our conceptual model entities, and then we demonstrate that in this conceptual model we can reduce the wealth inequality Gini index to the 0.451, which is the lowest wealth inequality worldwide, and this, of course, is a proof of concept study. It has many limitations, but it's basically, as a proof of concept, it shows the Waqf-owned financial intermediaries with proper policies can reduce the wealth inequality without reducing the total wealth and diminishes the debt burden on society. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ibrahim, for this wonderful presentation. We are sorry for the technical error. I think it's time of presentation, but inshallah, you can send your paper to all so that they can follow you. Okay, thank you. The last presenter is Dr. Rachid on a topic contemporary temporary Waqf in the framework of Maqâsıd Shariah. Dr. Rachid, the floor is yours.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you?
Yes.
Fine.
Fine, thank you so much. My dear friend, a long
How
time.
are you, my dear friend? Yeah, yes, long time. Inshallah, I will visit you for one day.
Inshallah, we'll be
And
expecting
we will
you.
visit Algeria also. Huh?
Bismillah.
Inshallah.
Bismillah, Doctor.
Inshallah. I know that we don't have enough time. So if you want, can we just proceed? Even
Okay.
without
slide, okay, no problem.
Okay. Yes. The topic is about the temporary Waqf in framework of Maqâsıd Shariah, and the research story tries to provide some applications under the COVID-19. The literature of Waqf in general reveals that Waqf played a great and important role in answering various social needs, whether it was health care, schooling, or necessities such as food and water and clothes. However, the needs of people can change from time to time and from place to place. In contemporary time, many social needs come to the stage of the life, and many of them are temporary needs that people need in some periods of time, such as in times of calamities, as we are living now under COVID-19. The problem with temporary Waqf is it is taken as granted that the majority of scholars and Muslim jurists hold the opinion that temporary Waqf is not allowed, and one condition to the validity of the Waqf contract is the stipulation of the perpetuity of the donation. However, when scrutinizing the Muslim jurists' literature, we find that there are many other Muslim jurists, especially within the Maliki school of law, and even from the Hanafi, Hanbali, and Shafi'i, that hold the opinion that temporary Waqf is allowed, and people can donate for a period of time, whether movable, unmovable, and even utilities. And movable and the donation of utilities and services are for great importance in times of calamities, especially, as they are in general important in temporary time. Using Maqâsıd Shariah and looking to the intent of the lawgiver when allowing donation of Waqf, we see that all the evidences whether from the text of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the analogies that jurists are using to validate the Waqf in general, are and can be applied for temporary Waqf as well as for perpetual Waqf. There is no text from Sharia that disallow and that puts haram to donate a Waqf as a temporary one for a period of time. As a result of the study, we have been able to shed lights on some contemporary needs in general that are also needed under the COVID-19. For example, companies can donate as a temporary Waqf part of their foods, part of their clothes, what they are producing in terms of foods, water, medical instruments. They are allowed, according to the Maliki and the selected opinion in this research, to give such things as a Waqf for a period of time. Also, houses, as it is used to be in Mecca, some rich people are giving and donating some buildings as Waqf for students for 11 months. Then in the month of Hajj, they take it back. Also, cash Waqf, as it is applied now, can be for a period of time, which is the temporary Waqf. An important thing that the investigation revealed is the Waqf of services and utilities. Majority of jurists, Hanbali, Hanafi, and Shafi'i, do not allow such donation. However, Maliki scholars and Ibn Taymiyyah from the Hanbali school allow such practice, where people can donate for a period of time their skills, services, and utilities of houses, land, schools, factories, and so on. Under COVID-19, we do have two sides. The act of worship, such as the need of mosque, because some mosques are little, we can't with this, we cannot make taras as-sufuf, so we have distance between the persons. Some neighbor of the mosques can give as temporary Waqf their houses or their lands in order to make the prayer and the worship or the act of prayer as easy. Also because the increase of death, the problem of graveyards. According to the Maliki school, we can give as temporary Waqf land for this purpose, which will be very helpful under the COVID-19. Also, as a temporary Waqf, people are allowed, according to Maliki jurists, to donate as temporary Waqf some medical instruments, hospital beds, masks, and other tools that are necessary in this time. In the other side, also in terms of utilities and services, doctors, technicians, professionals can donate their services in terms of benevolence for a period of time, such as one doctor can give us 1 hour a week or 2 hours or day a week where he can give his services for free. And this is considered for him as a temporary Waqf. However, what the paper recommends at the end is that it is the role of the government and the role of Islamic finance institutions to look on temporary Waqf and take it take it in their procedures in order to get a more beneficial or more benefits from this temporary Waqf. So from this simple presentation, we can see how temporary Waqf can answer many social needs, especially in this time of COVID-19. I hope that I were able to cover most of what have been written in the paper. Wallahu a'lam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sorry, the video was off.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Rachid, for this very wonderful presentation. I think it's a very interesting topic. And of course, now many are talking about temporary Waqf. I can see Dr. Amin as well. Thank you, Dr. Amin, for coming.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm very happy to see all of you.
Yes.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Inshallah.
It's been a long time.
Very long time. Dr. Amin is there. Dr. Ibrahim also. Thank you.
Yes.
But of course, because of time, that's why we ask you to present. But as I said, please, you can share your slides later so that all of us can benefit. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all presenters, starting from the first presenter to the last presenter. I also like to thank the organizing committee, Dr. Sam, for giving us this opportunity. And I would like to thank University of Karabuk for this wonderful initiative. This is the first, inshallah, it won't be the last. Without further, I would like to seek your permission to open your camera so that we can take group picture. Can we do that?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Mr. Salma, Tawfik, Ibrahim. Anyone from Dr. Ibrahim? Okay, you are using two cameras, no problem. Oh, Dr. Jassim also here. MashaAllah, all IIUM alumni.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. How are you doing?
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the presentation. Dr. Hussam, if you have anything to say before we close the session. Okay, I think he's not with us. Okay, are we done from technical? Okay, I think I can hear that someone is taking our picture. Okay, thank you so much, Sister Salma, Sister Nur Shasha, Dr. Ibrahim, Dr. Rachid, Dr. Muhammad Amin, Dr. Jassim, and others behind the scene. Dr. Hussam, of course. Okay, let us end this with Tasbih al-Kafara and Surah Al-Asr. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان في خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. See you next conference, inshallah.